Hello, I'm Shireen Hashim, the CEO and founder of the award-winning Fashion Community Week in San Francisco. Our platform offers support and opportunities for emerging and underrepresented fashion designers. Through our platform, emergent brands takes part in our exhibition, showroom, conference, and of course, our famous runway shows. Today, you are watching Fashion Community Speak, where we interview global fashion designers and industry experts who join us to share their success stories and industry insights with us. Today, our guest is Stella Carakasi, founder and creative director of the label Stella Carakasi. A direct-to-consumer brand is her latest exciting iteration in a series of successful clothing businesses driven by her and her team for 27 years. Stella was part of the early eco-fashion disruptors, practicing sustainable manufacturing processes when eco-fashion barely existed. It was by being part of creating Two Star Dogs, the first US company to develop and market a complete men's and women's collection made from hemp. She then launched the Stella Carakasi wholesale label, offering a cutting-edge, eco-friendly, size-inclusive women's wear brand. Both the brands scaled to successful multi-million-dollar wholesale businesses, selling across the United States, Canada, Australia, and Europe. Stella's design concepts are the expression of her Greek and German heritage. You may have also seen some of her striking designs on our Fashion Community Week platforms, debuting her collection in the year of 2016, 2017, and 2018. Well, join me to welcome Stella Carakasi. Stella, it is so lovely to have you with us today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Of course, it is our pleasure. So I want to get started. I wanted to ask you first, you have managed to create over 240 new styles per year, which is incredible. Walk us through this process of your design concept.
Well, when we first started, clearly, we didn't start out with 240 pieces per year.
Right.
But as the companies grew, both of them, as a matter of fact, the previous two companies, we added staff, and I had a whole team of people, and it pretty much boiled down, because we were in wholesale, having to create 8 seasonal small collections, and they were anywhere from 25 to 30 pieces strong in order to satisfy the seasonality and the rhythm that was expected being in wholesale, especially selling across the US and internationally. And as you know, we pretty much left wholesale behind just because, we saw that the industry was changing, and we had to make some decisions of where we wanted to head as a company, but also as entrepreneurs, because in order to have longevity in this business, you really have to heed the signs and adapt accordingly. And it became very obvious to us, in the late 2018, that we wanted to leave wholesale behind. The reason being, a lot of the direct-to-consumer disruption that was happening at the time, also caused turmoil within the wholesale business, where a lot of the small boutiques either went out of business or retailers didn't order as much anymore. And the industry in itself, for us, became non-sustainable. And we then decided that in order to really go back to our roots, which are based in sustainability and always have been, to make the decision to go direct to consumer. And the reason why I find the direct to consumer a lot more sustainable has simply to do with the fact that I got out of seasonality. I became a more non-seasonal collection. I can manage to pass down, some of the savings to our customers and still maintain the high quality products we've always produced all along. And sustainability ties into direct to consumer because it really allows me to not carry so much overhead and inventory, because having to produce 240 styles per year and the way the traditional wholesale business is structured, you end up season per season with excess inventory that you have to discount. And that to me really does not work with being a sustainable business.
Sure.
So a lot clearly went into making the decisions, but considering where we find ourselves these days, being in a pandemic, it is definitely the wisest choice we have made. In late 2018, when we really relaunched the company as a direct-to-consumer company, a lot of people told us, you're crazy for leaving this wholesale business behind, where we had managed, to have national representations. We did all the shows across the US. We had distributorships set up in Canada, Australia, and Europe. We had built a pretty sustainable business, but with it also came, I felt it was a rat race. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. So now, where we currently are, with the pandemic, it was by far the best decisions we have made.
I mean,
because it sustains us at the moment.
I think that's really great. I mean, clearly you're definitely an advanced brand who thinks ahead. And even before the pandemic, you didn't know the pandemic was coming.
No, nobody did.
Yeah, your brand had changed the business model from B2B to B2C. And of course, taking all the operations online. And now you're bridging the gap and you're basically selling directly to the consumers. And of
Right.
course, you've stated the obvious of why you are doing it. But is there one pinpoint reason why do you think that this business to consumer is a great business model?
Well, let me start by saying I've been working in this industry now for over 2 decades, and I have accumulated a lot of experience, and I've seen the industry, definitely change somewhat. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, fashion and the way fashion is run, especially the wholesale business, really hasn't changed that much in 50 years. I think the seasonalities are completely out of sync.
Sure.
You have to basically release, your seasons way ahead of when seasons ultimately start. And by the time the actual seasons are starting, you have to discount your garments already in order to be able to get ready for the next shipment and the next shipment and the next shipment. And to me, it is really not a sustainable business model.
Right.
And considering, especially now with the pandemic, people really don't want to go out there and shop. And if you have a brand name that is somewhat established and your customer already knows what your quality is all about, what your fit is all about, and what they can come to expect from you, they trust you, they can order online, and they know they won't be disappointed. So
nowadays, the customers are a lot more educated. They want to know whom they're wearing, where it is coming from.
totally.
And quite honestly, I was on the other end of, I worked as a buyer. So I knew we also had the pressure to pick the assortments that we knew for sure are not going to be red tagged. But again, that is a sort of like a catch-22. So
Right.
I mean, from your point of view, from your side, that's also so difficult to also ensure that the buyers are going to also buy it. And at the end of the day, it ends up all sold out to the customers. So bridging this gap is really important because you can now directly connect with your customer. So I mean, that's really so great, Stella, because I think everything is so fast paced, everything's moving so fast, especially in this .com era. Everybody wants to know everything right at hand.
That's
So
right.
I just think that you're definitely ahead of most brands doing what you're doing. So I
Thank you.
commend you for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I wanted to ask you something. I know that other than a very advanced brand, your brand also has certain distinctive elements that really focuses on the success of the customer and the happiness of the customer. And now,
Very
according
important.
to you, the average American woman wears a size 16, but
Mhm.
many trendy brands across the board only offers sizes up to 12 or 14. This means that an entire cross section of the female population has been ignored. However, it is applaudable to see that your brand offers a range up to size 22, bridging that size gap. Do you think the landscape of plus size women fashion is changing?
Boy, that is a pretty loaded question for me, Sharon, and I'm going to tell you why. Having been in this business for all this time, clearly, the span of my careers, I've connected with a lot of different women. And the um, what became very apparent to me is that the industry, again, hadn't really changed that much because the cool brands, the cool cats out there, they like to focus on the ideal young hourglass figure. And in industry terms, we call it the neat hourglass figure, which means you are slim and you're very proportionate. Well, if you really do some deep dives, you come to realize that that only accounts for less than 20% of the female population.
Of course.
And what that really means, a whole cross section is left out, scrambling to find garments that actually fit them, right? To take that further, designers are still trained to glorify the ideal hourglass figure,
Sure.
right? And after talking to so many women, I've heard it all. My muffin top, my hips, my lopsided, what? I don't want to point to it. And I really honed into taking all of that in and wondering, what can I do as a designer to make a positive difference in women's lives?
Right.
And as far as plus size is concerned, I have a problem with the word plus size because
Right.
at the end of the day, it's still associated with body shaming. The
Sure.
plus size industry has definitely expanded, in the last few years.
Oh, yes.
But in comparison to what the normal size industry does, it's still very small. And I have friends who are size 16 and bigger.
Right.
And from a personal experience, we cannot, well, certainly not now because of the pandemic, but prior to that, we couldn't shop in the same stores. And that to me became a pain point that I realized. My friends who are bigger didn't want to be told, hey, go shopping in that corner of shame called plus size for you to find something that fits you, while I have the smorgasbord of a product that I can try on.
Right.
So I really wanted to bridge the gap in creating a collection where a size 16, which is the average American size woman, can shop the same brand as a size 2. And then I've taken it further to gradually expand, and the majority or all of my products right now will fit a size 2 to 18, and now I'm expanding into size 2022. And as the company scales and grows, I will embrace the larger sizes without really calling it plus size. And a lot
No,
of
that
brands
is
don't want to do that.
that is so amazing because you know what? There is a size chart, Asia to Europe to here. It's so different. And
Right.
according to the French Fashion Federation, size 6 is a plus size, which I think it's a bit ridiculous. I
That's
mean, just
ridiculous.
this week we saw Jacques Mus runway show, and he had some plus sizes, so which was very impressive to see. Even Chanel, the last season had a size 6 plus size, which is
Right.
such a normal size for us here in the US. So, I mean, it is applaudable what you're doing, and thank you because you are really hitting the size chart where it is very viable for the United States customer and also worldwide.
I think so.
Um, all right, so I wanted to ask you your secret sauce, which is you have claimed that you have combined 5 key principles to ensure to offer your consumer the best value they deserve. Can you
Right.
share what these key points are very briefly,
Yes.
that our other young designers and brands who are watching you today can take away from you?
Right. I think direct to consumer is definitely the way of the future. Sustainable fabrics and manufacturing methods are key. I don't lead with that. I feel it's part of my DNA. It has been part of my DNA. But I think it is very important that we need to create a more sustainable future. And all entrepreneurs out there, I encourage them to find ways to really embrace that, no matter what industry they're in. Size inclusivity to me is very important. It is key. I don't like to separate it in plus or missy sizes. To me, it's just a size continuum because fashion needs to get real with what is happening in society.
Sure.
Fit is very important. I design everything in house. I fit everything in house
Amazing.
because in order to create styles, which is number 5, that actually really allow a variety of body size to look comfortable and look beautiful and flattering items, no matter who you are, is part of the design secret sauce. And if you really manage to do that, you have something. Young designers, what is really important is to find product market fit, and to know your unit economics. Because at the end of the day, as much as you like to express clothing as your medium of your artistic genius, at the end of the day, clothing is a commercial product. And finding your market and making sure that you actually understand what your unit economics are will eventually become the foundation for you to succeed.
Absolutely. We always tell our designers these are 3 elements they need to look at. It should be profitable, wearable, and sellable. That,
Totally.
and then move forward with your entire plan.
That's right.
Well, Stella, thank you so much for joining us today. We're always seeing you when we're rushing to put your collection on the runway on all the models, and they all look gorgeous, by the way. And doesn't matter what size chart it is, they all look so beautiful because I think that you make your collection in a way that every woman can wear and feel beautiful. So thank you for making us feeling so beautiful. And thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for being here with us today and sharing all of your expertise with us. I would also like to thank our audience for tuning in and watching our Fashion Community Speak interview series. If you'd like to shop Stella's cutting edge designs, simply visit stellakarakazi.com. Tune in every week, same time on our Fashion Community Week IGTV to watch live interviews with fashion industry tycoons. All interviews are also available on our platforms such as Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you so much again, Stella, for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I super appreciate to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.